If we start taking a look at outline appendix C, we start taking a look at types of law. When we talk about common law, and common law is the whole issue of this precedence from past cases judged by courts, and some of these could be many, many years old, and the courts in that same jurisdiction will follow that law. We have statutory law, which is voted upon by different legislative bodies. So you might have, for example, in West Haven, a statute passed by a government entity that says if you have a pool, you have to have a fence around that pool that's at least 4 feet high. That is an example of a statutory law that's out there. So it could be laws that are decided by court as common law. Statutory is by any kind of government body. And so it could be a zoning issue, it could be a tax issue. All those different government-based laws. You have constitutional law. And as we talked about previously, there are 51 constitutions in the United States. Each state has their own constitution, and then there's the federal constitution as well. And constitutional law will reflect what might be the highest protections that they feel people are owed in that state or the federal government. So we have, as an example, the federal government in our Constitution, we have freedom of religion, freedom of press, freedom of association. We have the right not to incriminate yourself under certain clauses in the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. You have other rights such as the right of due process, equal protection underneath the law. Things like that. Those are all constitutionally mandated rights that you have. The Constitution doesn't apply to everyone. As we'll get to in a little bit, the Constitution only applies to what are called state actors. And as I previously had said, if you're at the University of New Haven or a private university, there's no constitutional rights whatsoever. But if you're at, let's say, Mary L. Tracy, which is a kindergarten school in Orange, it's run by the city of Orange. Any city-based organization, any state-based organization represents a state actor. So if their employees engage in conduct, if you go over there and try renting the space and they don't allow you to rent it because you want to use it for a religious purpose, but they let another religion use it, that's when you have a potential violation of the Constitution. That's where you have, it's not a free speech issue anymore, it's an issue of excluding certain speeches, and any kind of laws that impact the use of government facilities has to be content neutral, which means it can't be based upon what someone's saying, their background, or anything else like that. So that's an example of constitutional law. And then administrative law is from Congress or elected bodies. It's somewhat like statutory law, but what statutory law might dictate, for example, is what you have to do with this fence. It might be that an administrative hearing might be held if you try challenging that. So let's say you don't want to have a 4-foot-high fence, and you give a legitimate reason saying, hey, we have an electric force field around this swimming pool, and it will keep anybody away from there, and that's not something that is in your law. Well, they probably would take that to an administrative body, maybe a zoning commission or something else like that, that will adjudicate that, hear that, and give a ruling. So administrative and statutory are often working together, but they're different bodies. Administrative is one that's trying to apply the law, so you might have an administrative court for taxes, an administrative court for bankruptcy, an administrative court for certain types of permits or things like that. Those are the kind of things that you might have out there, but it's based upon statutory law. And then we have the trials. That can go to any kind of law. So when you start taking a look at trials, that covers a broader, much broader area.